Hello, Leo. How's everybody doing today? Welcome to your monthly reading. We're going to be taking a look at the month of January. We're also going to do something special with all of the January readings, which means basically we'll be taking a look at a few of the sort of energies around 2022. So I'll do a past, present, and future pull right around the middle of this reading today. So you picked a great month to look at this and a great reading to look at this as well. Lots of love here from my little furry helper, Apollo. My name is Nicholas Ashbaugh. And if you've never been to one of my readings before, you can always use this for your sun, your rising, as well as your moon sign. So let's talk a little bit about how I structure this, and then let's get into the reading itself. So I always like to begin with channeled messages, which I have in front of me. The channeled messages come through, I know, buddy, as a combination of dreams, meditation, and also the research that I do right here. And then I like to move along to the Celtic Cross, which gives us a little bit more of an opportunity to delve into some of the big opportunities for the month, some of the twists and turns that we have to navigate as well. And then we'll go into a little bit of an expanded forecast where we look at specific areas like health, wealth, love, and destiny. As I said a few moments ago, today we'll be doing something special at the midpoint. After we look at blessings and blocks and do a viewer's poll, then we'll take a look at past, present, and future influences for 2022. I'm going to do a special dedicated video on New Year's Eve, actually. So if you want to join me on December 31st, 9 a.m., I'll put a link here to all of the upcoming videos in just a few minutes, but I'd love to have you join me for that. But I did want to give each sign a little bit of a specific glimpse into the new year, so we'll do that here today as well. And then after we take a look at that, we'll navigate into the meditation and then a final message, which is basically you'll meditate on a question and I'll pull a card. That's the overarching structure. As I need to today, I may add or subtract or kind of move around. It's always sort of a fluid thing, but that's the normal way that I organize it. So welcome, everyone. I have one moderator today, Maria Margarita. She'll help you if you have any high-level questions. Just a couple of reminders before we get started. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button. It actually helps this channel grow. It helps other people explore and discover what's here. If you're returning, just hit the thumbs up, the like button once, as that will help. And if you've ever missed something and want to make sure that you don't, go ahead and opt into the notification bar, or bell rather, so that you don't miss out. If you'd like to give back and sort of just support me on a monthly basis, a way that you can do that is by clicking the join button, which is right under the description. It's also available if you click on this little icon where you can also give back, as Touche did right there. I'll say thank you at the very end for anyone that was able to kind of give back, or if there's anybody that newly joined or rejoined. But that's it for now. Also, I pinned a link to all of my social media accounts. So if you ever want to look at recaps or upcoming schedules, I do my best to always remind you of upcoming videos. So there you go. That's the high level information for today. And let me do one more thing here. I'm just going to give you my schedule link just so that you have it for the future here. So here's a link to all of the upcoming videos for the rest of this month. In case you want to come for your sun, rising, and moon signs. And also on that link, you'll be able to see what's coming through for New Year's as well. Okay, so let's go ahead now and take a look at your spirit totem for today. I always like to begin with something in nature. This usually comes to me through dreams or as I'm meditating in the morning. And this today it actually came in meditation. And I don't think we've ever covered this particular spirit totem today. So the main totem is an aardvark, which is a kind of cool insectivore, eats mostly ants and also termites. We'll be focusing on the second totem today, which of course is an ant. And I'm showing this very cool thing that they do, which is to build a living bridge. And I think that there's something very interesting about how that could kind of relate to you in the month ahead. All right, because we have this sort of it's almost a contradictory nature between the aardvark, which is very much a hermit, and the ants, which is very much sort of like this communal energy. So let's dig into it and see what spirit wants to bring through. Okay, so again, dual totem today, aardvark and ant being the two main totems. I don't know why I've never looked it up before, but now that I'm sort of doing totems, I get curious sometimes about etymology. So if there's a very strange name for an insect or for an animal, I'm like, where did that come from? So aardvark originates from Afrikaans, which is sort of like a South African Dutch language, and if you were to take the two pieces away, I think it was the ard portion, which means earth, and then the other part means pig, but earth pig is what aardvark means. It's a compound word. Interesting, did not know that for sure. And despite its name, it actually shares common ancestors with elephants and golden moles. So it's just a name, but the earthen piece of this is important because it does live in a little burrow in the ground. It coils up just like Apollo would in a bed. He's on the other side of me now, but he likes to kind of curl up in a little snail shell sometimes. And I'm sure any of you that have cats and dogs, you know what I mean. They just kind of curl in on themselves. So there is that sort of energy of wanting to be by yourself, at home, private, needing some space, definitely some hermit energy. They're also nocturnal and tend to live alone. So again, kind of underlying the hermit energy. I think maybe towards the beginning of the next month, we're looking at January. Some of you are going to be wanting to have some more of that time alone. You may already be feeling a little bit of it now because we have so many of these public gatherings for holidays and whatnot that sometimes it just is like enough is enough, right? Although the aardvarks can see well at night, their vision is otherwise poor. They rely on sound and the sense of smell. Obviously, they have that really long snout. They also have very big ears. There's a common sort of trend between the last couple of totems that I've been pulling from Spirit, which is listening, because we did the bat the other day. And so this definitely has some of that same energy. Not always paying attention to this, letting your other senses do some of the work. Earth is actually a part of the name aardvark, so plays a major part in this totem. Again, they live in little burrows, and I think this is really kind of reminding us to get grounded in a purpose. So ground yourself in an overarching purpose and or a vision. This is not a time to just sort of like wing it and hope for the best. Sometimes you can do that. Sometimes you can just sort of show up and hope for the best, but this is a time where if you know what you want to do and you do the homework to kind of line it all up, you're able to be very strong, very impactful, very speedy or expedient as it starts to kind of like unveil itself. So do the homework, do the research, it will help you. You may need to do a little bit of work alone first. So I think we're going to have a combination this upcoming month of solo and then communal work, because again, you have two different totems with contrasting strengths. So the aardvarks need to be by themselves a little bit to kind of sort it out and figure it out. And if you have ever been in a really busy or noisy office, the last place that I worked, and I'm sure this has changed now since COVID has kind of become a part of our world, but you know, in the like 2015 to 2020, I think there was this trend towards open office spaces, right? Because it seemed like it was a cool thing. I'm not sure why people decided to take down all the walls, but it was a nightmare to work in because you could hear every phone conversation. If someone sneezed, they were sneezing across on you, on your desk and everything. And everyone was walking by and looking what you were doing, looking what was on your desk. It was very sort of like, it was not a kind of like conducive to brainstorming and development. A lot of times when you're in those early developmental stages, you need a little bit of space before someone steps in and, hey, what are you working on? Oh, how about this? So I'm all for, collaboration, but I do think that you need a little bit of time to kind of germinate before you show. So give yourself the time that you need. Find a space that you can do this in if you still work in one of those open spaces. Fingers crossed, I hope they're starting to change that and allowing for a little bit more privacy, because there is a benefit to not seeing everything and hearing everything. It's kind of like a stimulus overload, right? So give yourself that time and space if you need it. Ask for it if you need it, because you'll actually thrive with a little bit of time and space to yourself. When it comes to learning or to sort of like digesting new things, try to switch things up. Try alternating between the visual and the audio sort of cues and whatnot. And I think that's going to help, because we're looking at an animal here that at certain times of the day, well, in this case, the night, it can see, but the rest it has to sort of lean into its other senses. So I would say for you, like I have a bunch of visual aids on the desk here. And I do this not just because I like to torture myself and write all these cards, but because it gives me a sort of foundation to allow me to just sort of be fluid and channel. So I set up this and then I'm okay. But if I were to just do it without that, it would be kind of difficult. So for me, I've tried different ways of learning, different ways of presenting, and I kind of like this. Even though I'm very technical, if I was working on an iPad the whole time, that would be distracting, but I can glance at a card, I can share the card with you. Sometimes the old school works. So if you're trying to learn something, maybe use the cards and write or highlight things. I know that we have Kindles now and iPads and Nooks and you name it, but it may help if you kind of mix old media with new media when it comes to presenting and learning and communicating. And then sometimes if you're seeing it and it's not sinking in, listen to it. Podcasts and also if you can record like a lecture if you're at school, that, or if there's a Zoom now, since a lot of this is virtual. I know that a way that I would really do well on tests sometimes was whenever I was allowed to record, because not all professors would allow that, but if I was allowed to record a lecture, I would play it back and I'd be like walking around campus and I would listen to the same lecture a few times and kind of really, it just became a part of my memory. And then when I went to the test, I could hear the professor talking in my head as I was doing it. So sometimes I needed the visual. Sometimes I just wanted to hear the professor talking and really kind of get it in the head a few times. So give yourself a chance to use your different senses. Don't just do the same thing the same way. Change it up. Learning in particular, you've got to try different input methods, right? Just like a computer, there's different ways to get a file on your computer. You can email it. You can put a USB drive in. You can send it from your phone. There's like a lot of different ways. So think of your brain being the same way. You don't have just one input method, okay? When you're looking and listening to people, also kind of do the same thing. Listen to the tone, the word choice, and also the nonverbal cues. They may not show you how they are feeling, but they may kind of like in the tone or in the way that they're speaking, reveal it. So you're going to be playing a little bit of a detective this month and reading beyond or seeing beyond the veneer that's out there, the facade. So trust the third eye, trust the heart, trust the ears and the brain, and go beyond what they're saying. Sometimes people have different ways of asking for help or saying no or trying to tell you something politely. So really pick up on social cues, and that's going to be important. That's why we have today this totem that's, for all intents and purposes, legally blind, but does a great job of like sniffing out food and surviving because it uses its other senses. So same thing with the ants. There are some ants that actually don't have eyes in the research. So look at the big ears on this aardvark and the really big nose. So see how it feels internally. It's going to be important. And we'll be talking. I actually had a visitation from the high priestess in my dreams. So all of this is going to be a really important sort of factor. Okay, let's look at the next piece here. Aardvarks actually have really strong claws, and they can dig at a surprising rate of 0.6 meters or about 2 feet in 15 seconds. This helps them get to their food fast. Also, if they're in danger, they can burrow into the ground pretty quickly. So great sort of survival technique and also great foraging or hunting energy there. So you have the same thing this month. You can use your hands-on sort of energy to make things happen. So roll up your sleeves and really kind of get there. And this is where the teamwork is going to be important. Or maybe there's something that you really care about and you just think, I've got to do this. I really want to roll up my sleeves and get to work here, get to business. Once you do that, you'll start to see rapid progression, just like we saw here with the aardvark being able to dig a hole and get into something really quickly. So you can dig into a project or into learning something and surprise yourself at the progress that you will make. Okay, so that is the main sort of energy from the aardvark, which I liked. Grounding yourself, being sort of very hands-on, being able to sniff out an opportunity. Really trust this if you're an entrepreneurial type. If something kind of gives you that gut instinct, or if, again, you're sniffing out and thinking this is good or this is bad, absolutely trust what is being given to you. Now, as I said, they eat insects, a lot of different insects, mostly termites, also ants. I wanted to focus on the ants because that was just what I was drawn to look at. Ants are strong, intelligent, cooperative, and highly structured, so socially, I should say, insects. Pretty good across the board, actually, if I were to look at it. They're annoying if you get them in the house. One thing that I didn't even put in the cards, but I'm sure you've noticed this if they found a way in, they're very smart. And even if you just sort of block out one area, they'll find another way. They also learn where things are and they come back. They use sort of scent markers, I think, to do that, but they're also intelligent, and you can kind of teach them certain behavioral patterns. So small but strong and intelligent. They are separated also into groups based on function: the queens, the males, the workers. And you may find yourself trying to navigate a social structure like the Hierophant card. It can be reversed, and then it's a rebel sometimes. So you might be feeling the rebellious sort of thought of, I don't want to do this, or there's a better way to do this than what I'm seeing. So maybe you're building up, maybe you're breaking down a hierarchy in your life. Whatever it is, you have the power to kind of navigate it. So decide, do I want to work in this group? Do I want to push through it? Do I want to pull it down and recreate something better? You have choices. Ants are a lot stronger than they look. They can lift up to 100 times their body weight, which is pretty impressive. So for you, think of like the 10 of Wands in tarot. The 10 of Wands is an indication that you're near the end, but a lot of times we see someone feeling burdened by the load, thinking, oh my God, how am I going to get to that last step of the race? So the Ant's coming through to say, just kind of put your chest up, stand up tall, and push through to the finish line. You can do this. You're stronger than you think. One step at a time. They've got little legs, but they're pretty strong. So just keep taking one step at a time. That living bridge that I was showing you here, I'm going to look at it again. I really liked this as a metaphor for asking for help. So they're stronger when they work together. So, let me see if there's an easier way to see it. Okay, so this one's even a better picture. There's no way that they could necessarily get to that other leaf unless they were jumping. So they create a bridge and they kind of lean on each other. They walk on each other in a nice way, and leaning is better. So ants can create a living bridge, proving that there's power in leaning on others, quite literally. So if you need help, if you want to work with someone, really surround yourself with a strong team, lean into and onto one another, and you're going to get further, farther, faster than you would imagine. So that is a really cool message coming through from the ants. And those are the main messages there. I liked that there's something more than meets the eye with them. So if anyone takes you for granted, you're stronger than they think, and you're going to probably be able to use that to your advantage because they've, for some reason, taken you for granted, and this is your time to really step in and say, hey, wait a second, there's more here than you maybe imagined initially. All right, let's talk about a really cool dream that I had right before I got up this morning. So this morning I saw the High Priestess, not necessarily as illustrated in the card. It was more of a modern version of her, but there she was. I was at what looked like a brick or a cement wall. There were some other people around me, and she was there to teach us a lesson. And she showed me that there was sort of like these runes and paintings on the wall. And as she was standing in front of it, it kind of shimmered and moved, and it looked less solid than it did at first glance. And we touched the wall, and basically in that instant, we were on the other side of it. We were kind of transported through it or beyond it. So basically, there is an illusion, a block that's in front of you. It could seem like there's no way to do something, but if you follow your heart, your eyes, your third eye rather, and don't just kind of look at what's in front of you, you're going to be able to see a way around, through, or even like beyond whatever this block is that somehow is feeling like it's the end of the world. It's just one thing. It's going to be like a little grain of sand when you kind of look at the big sort of picture at the end of the day. She also gifted me with something that felt like Superman's X-ray vision. She said, close your eyes and think about something that you need to see deeper into. And it was sort of like I could see, if it was a person, I could see almost like the skeletal structure and then beyond them. So I was able to see through and again, way beyond things. So for you, I want you to look beyond a perceived fact or person or block in your life. There's something more. That's basically what the X-ray vision was all about. There's also, for you, if you're willing to try, there's just another way. So you don't even have to go through it. You might even be able to think, wait, I'm drawn to this path, or I'm drawn to this path. Let's try something completely different. So we've talked a lot over the past few readings about the ability to like pivot, right? So this is something where you can also pivot left or right or up or down and try something completely different. Okay. So again, just a quick summary for those of you that just joined. We just went through the aardvark. The aardvark is all about grounding yourself, trusting your senses beyond what you're seeing, really your ESP portion, your sort of intuition to bring you into the right path. Also, there's a speed that happens when you decide to really put your sort of ideas into motion. Hands-on work and energy is going to be really important. The ants came through to remind us the importance of teamwork. There's a time that you're going to have to do independent work, and then there's a time where you're going to have to lean on others. Give yourself time to develop, then find the group or the conduits that you need to kind of lean on, like that living bridge that we saw. And then when you feel like you've reached a block, you actually haven't. There's another way to look. And that's what the High Priestess taught us. And that's the culmination, in a nutshell, of all of your channel messages. So hopefully that helps you out. We're going to move along to the next section. So by the way, if you're new, please hit like and subscribe. Share it with some folks. We have a pretty small room here today. I'd love to see some more folks here. So if you know anyone on social media that would enjoy this, please do that. I forgot to share it on Facebook today. I normally do that. So maybe you can share it on your Facebook as I'm getting started here. And we will then move along into the Celtic Cross. The Celtic Cross is going to show us all of the opportunities in front of us. By the way, if you missed anything here, a reminder that I posted a link up top where you can join me on social media. My username is Nicholas Ashbaugh, and I will post those cards usually within 2 days of going live on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, also on Twitter, which has a slightly different username, and Ashbaugh. By the way, there's been a lot of imposters lately on social media, so just a quick note that I don't do personal readings, I don't send friend invites, and I'll never use Messenger, chat, or text to get in touch with you, especially WhatsApp. It bears repetition. Just in case you see it, first of all, let me know about it. You can use my website and fill out a form, and also report it if anyone does that. All right, let's get into the cards now. We're going to take a look at Sun, Rising, Moon, Venus for the month of January. If you're watching live, this actually can have to do with right here and right now because my readings usually span about 6 to 8 weeks. So let's take a look and see what the messages are for you right now, next 6 to 8 weeks. Thank you to all of you that are giving back a little bit with super stickers and super chat. I will say thank you at the very end of the reading. So thank you so much for making this possible. Welcome to all the new channel members as well. All right, let's take a look at what's in front of us here. Let me just take a quick drink of tea, and then I'm going to continue with what's going on here. All right, let's begin with your catalyst. We have Lord Ganesh here to help us through any blocks, and Ganesha is showing us the power of determination here. And as I was saying earlier, if you feel blocked, you're not actually as blocked as you may think you are. And being able to sort of continue to push, to work, to not give up is what we see. Beautiful, strong root chakra colors, as well as solar plexus. You can kind of see the beautiful yellow here, but there's a lot of deep red and orange. So we're looking at 1, 2, and 3, which was what we were talking about in the last reading that I did, focusing on that base or root chakra, sexual chakra, allowing you to express yourself and to be creative. And then also that power center here around the solar plexus. So we see all 3 of those coming through really strong in this particular card. So grounding yourself in your purpose, having the fearlessness to sort of like say what you need to say and express yourself. A lot of times, as I was saying in the last reading that I did yesterday, we're taught sometimes, and it was a Cancer reading, to fear or to be shameful or to doubt our desires and our wishes. And this is something that we learn as a child, usually from peers, teachers, and parents. Often well-intentioned when it comes to parents and teachers, but sometimes we have to kind of like unlearn what they taught us. So for some of you, that's what you're going back to, is the ancient knowledge that you had when you were a kid, that you're kind of like, you got trained out of. So go back into who you know you are and who you want to be and what you want to do, and trust that that's going to bring you into the right direction, the right trajectory rather. The next thing that I want to look at here is your center card. We have the Strength card, and the Strength card here is really twofold here. One of the things that I like to say with this is it's telling you, because it's reversed, that you need to focus on taking care of your body, making sure that you are rested, that you've had enough of an opportunity to just sort of like be okay. So sometimes when we're working too hard, when emotionally we're just taxed out, the Strength card comes in to say, get the sleep you need, make sure you're eating well, make sure you're getting if you need any sort of like therapy or support or PT, whatever, get what you need. The Strength card is one of my favorite cards. It's a divine feminine card that shows you that you can overcome almost any obstacle, just like the ant, even if it seems insurmounting. She's able to tame the beast, basically. But when the card is reversed, sometimes what happens is there's people around you that are afraid of seeing your power, are afraid of seeing you grow, may even want to step in and make you second guess or doubt yourself. So this card is saying you have a lot more power and strength than that person's giving you credit for, or that organization or that environment is. So you're going to reclaim it. We want to see you as the Strength card upright. And this is you, by the way. So this is great. This is saying, hey, I'm right here. I'm Leo. I'm ready for this. And I'm not going to let anybody take away my shine, my power, my strength. So reclaim it, basically. If there's anything that's gone on in your life where you've wondered, can I do this? Why isn't this working out? Take a look around and see if the people that really have your best intentions in mind, or they're really there to support you, or if there's something going on. This can also be a boss, a mom, or a friend that likes to kind of step in and pretend that they know what's best for you. The truth is, you know what's best for you. And don't be afraid to kind of push back a little bit and basically say no, or back off a little bit as needed. And basically love this energy here. So bright, so vibrant. We have a lot of the same colors in this one. This is focusing more on the solar. This was more like root and second chakra. But these cards have the same sort of similar energy. Knowing who you are, not being afraid to express yourself, finding the power to kind of step into that light. Okay. And because of the poppies that we see on this, I would also say for many of us, this could be something that could take a little bit of time to grow. Usually this is associated with summer. So depending on where you live, this would be something that's going to be coming up through the summer months. So you may be on a 1-year trajectory, you may be on a few month trajectory, so some of you in the Southern Hemisphere. So it's closer than it seems, but it takes a little bit of work to find that energy and find that power. Also, power can be intoxicating if we think of, what was it? Wizard of Oz, right? With the poppies. I think is that the one? No, Alice in Wonderland. I forget which one. The one with the poppies, anyway. The poppies can sometimes be, like in this case, we're looking at power and we're looking at this sort of like hallucinogenic thing. So sometimes people get drunk in their power. So if there's anyone in your life that tends to sort of like take advantage of power or whatever, again, you're going to step back from that, or you're going to step up to them and say, hey, this is actually my thing, and reclaim the power. Okay. So we have the 3 of Cups crossing this card, a really great and auspicious symbol if you're looking for making a connection this month. This is very much what I would expect to see between December and January, because we have a lot of holiday parties. We have a lot of reasons to sort of get out there and mingle. This is an encouragement to do that. You might actually meet a really important contact. It doesn't always mean love. For those of you that are looking for work, this could be a job lead. If you are trying to just sort of like make new friends, this can be a new friendship. And yeah, of course, this can be dating as well. If you are, we'll look at it differently if you're in a relationship, but I would say if you're in a relationship, a lot of times what this has to do is to really sort of like get that spark back. And there could also be just a lot of third-party energies coming through over the holiday season, families and friends and in-laws that you have to navigate. This can be a mother figure as well. Someone asked about the feet. It's because we were talking today all about grounding. So what better way to be grounded than to put your feet on the ground? So this is actually in alignment with the aardvark card that we were looking at a little bit ago. So be grounded in social interactions as well. Don't let your head sort of go into crazy places. Take it one step at a time. And then again, this is just about moderation too. When we see something like 3 of Cups and 9 of Cups, there's a reminder to keep your head on straight. Okay. Let's look at your deep past. I actually did a mini read on Instagram the other night, and the 6 of Swords came up. It was reversed. This time it's upright, which is good. So for many of you, there is already movement in the right direction. Really what we're looking at right now is the opportunity to have some follow through on this. This is a freeing card, a card of liberation. And I love the way that this author or illustrator kind of created this image for us. We see someone getting carried away from that sense of frustration, fear, and doubt that a lot of times we'll see with the swords, and they're going to higher ground. So if you've been looking for a sign or symbol, should I move on? Is it the right time to do this? Should I move in general? The answer with this is yes. For those of you that are possibly let go of someone or something, whether it's more of a figurative release or it's an actual sort of release, like someone moved on, they passed on, then this card is showing that they are at peace. This is a card of elevation and ascension. So many of you are just getting validation that this was the right move. It allows you to move into the right direction. Or again, if the person has passed on or moved on, they're at peace or they're on a better road. So no matter what, we see ascension, we see being in a better place, and pretty much love this card, the way it's illustrated. Reach for whatever goal you have and make sure that you have this, you have this sort of wherewithal and the courage to go after something that you're interested in. Okay. Reach high for those goals. We have the Lovers card here in the recent past. So many of you are at a point right now where you're starting to pull in opportunities. Loving yourself is the key here, and not in a sort of narcissistic way, but in a self-acceptance way, celebrating like your journey so far. This is a magnet card. It doesn't always mean that there is love coming into your life. It means that there's this potential right now to really connect well with people. So for some of you, this could be a chance for you to sell a project or an idea. This could be a chance for you to make new friends. This could be a chance to get a contract signed that you wanted if you're trying to put your resume out there for consideration, or if you're trying to buy a house or get an apartment. This is very auspicious, okay? So people are interested in being around you right now. The fact that we have both the Lovers and the 3 of Cups definitely bodes well for meeting new people, new friends, or new love interests. And I'll dig into that a little deeper when I expand and focus on love in just a moment here. Okay. And yeah, we're not going to mention no shoes every time. Again, this particular deck, I think the main thing is there's a grounding opportunity when it comes to relationships. So I think it's in perfect alignment with the aardvark. So yeah, no shoes, because why would you have shoes in the Garden of Eden? So just some symbology here, or symbolism. There are certain cards in tarot that will be naked, and that is because there's no artifice. So the Lovers, there's no clothing. The Star, usually no clothing. And the World is usually partially clothed. And that's because they're all like God or goddess or demigod or sort of like divine energy. And when we are at our sort of core energy, we don't need all the artifice. This is artifice. We kind of like put on a, it's not necessarily a facade, but we're showing a part of ourselves, but it's kind of like cultivated. So this is saying when you are truly yourself, that's when you're attracting that. So the authenticity is why there's nudity in the cards, not because it's salacious. So FYI, fun facts with tarot. All right, we've got the 8 of Pentacles in the crowning position. Time to get to work. And this is what we were talking about. Rolling up your sleeves, digging in, as we saw with the aardvark. And what I like about the Eight of Pentacles is there's a nice return on investment when you do something. So if you've been wondering, could I go back to school? Should I go back to this project? What if I decided to take up this art or craft or thing that I liked again? The answer to this is a good period of time. You're going to see the fruits of your labor. So very good time to expand knowledge, to finish something up, to get started. We also see like a cool little cobweb there, another sign of attraction. I always like spiders and spider webs as a totem, not necessarily in real life, but as a totem, because they are absolutely magnetic and they get what they're looking for. I don't mind spiders, but I just don't want them in my house. The cool thing about spiders is they're actually quite helpful. They're usually not going to bother you either. They get rid of stuff that we don't want, the other creepy crawlies. So, all right. Eight of Pentacles can also be a decision to maybe even create something that others can benefit from. So this could be a curriculum for some of you. This could also be some sort of a product that you would put into production. The Eight of Pentacles can also indicate like putting it on a production line. So if you're looking to create something and mass market it, maybe like a book or again, some sort of a product and you found a manufacturer, this card is boning well for all of that. All right, it's time to take ownership and control. We have the Emperor in reverse here in the near future. I love that he has the power symbol here of the Ankh and he has the third eye there coming through. And I think the important thing for you is to decide what's holding me back from speaking up, taking a leadership role, or doing this on my own. The Emperor is saying you can do it. We do have a lot of maternal and paternal energy coming through, sort of stepping in and questioning maybe authority. This can be a mom, this can be a dad, or it can be an aunt or an uncle, or it can just be bosses and friends sort of coming in and saying, hey, wait a second, are you sure you can do that? Well, what if this happens? And sometimes they project or insert doubt where it doesn't need to be. Don't micromanage. Don't over sort of like hold on to something too much or try to control something too much. Give things space to breathe. And if you need space to breathe, by all means, go ahead and ask for it. It's important. When I look into your soul space this month, we have a lovely and very positive card here. We have the Ace of Pentacles. Look at all the flowers that are growing around it. A lot of times I view this as like a seed or an egg or a kernel or an idea. It's a beginning for you. And the question for you is, are you willing to invest? And you willing to try this? We're not talking necessarily about finance. We're talking about, are you willing to invest in a relationship, in a job, in an idea? The universe is presenting to you an option and it's asking you, do you want this? And if not, what do you want? I had a brunch with a friend, a couple months ago, and I don't know how we were kind of stumbling upon this, but we were talking about life purpose. And sometimes even with friends and family, I'll ask, what's your life purpose? For everybody, it's different. I'm always surprised. Some people don't know. Some people will just say, I just want to be happy. And that's good. So, but the more you can focus in on it, the more effective it will be. The person that I asked at that time really didn't have an answer. And that's not a bad thing. Today, if you don't have an answer to like, what am I trying to do? That's your homework. And you can take or leave the homework. It's up to you. But I'd like you to try to figure out, and it can be kind of like multifaceted. What am I trying to do, in this relationship, with my job, for the planet? And then you can think bigger, like in this lifetime, before I leave this planet. Doesn't matter if you're 18 or 118. You might be thinking, all right, with the time that I have left, what kind of an impact do I want to make? So sometimes we're thinking broadly. Sometimes there's been a lot that we've been through. Maybe you've gone through a lot with family and relationships, and you just really want to find like stability and happiness. That is enough. There's no such thing as judgment when it comes to this. So think as, sort of like concise or big as you'd like to with this. But the universe can only start to deliver when you have some clarity on that. Otherwise, it's just kind of throwing some options at you. It's kind of like you're at a bazaar or a supermarket or a really big open air market, and there's all this stuff. And you can kind of have a little bit of everything, but there's nothing maybe that you're looking for. So really be specific on what you're trying to find so the universe can kind of be your personal shopper and pick out a few opportunities for you so you're not wasting so much time. Ace of Pentacles in your soul space is very good. This could be someone saying, I want you for a job. I'd like to start dating you. Do you want to get married? So it can be a proposal. It can be a contract. It can be that kind of presentation as well. The reason I'm drilling into what do you want is so that when you're presented with it, you can say, yeah, I want it. Or that's close, but how about this? You can kind of really be the good negotiator that you need to be. Environmentally, I want you to aim higher. We have the Prince of Pentacles here, or the Knight of Pentacles. And basically, he's coming in with an even better offer. Some of you may have 2 offers on your table, or there may be a couple of things that you need to choose between. We have a lovely sort of symbol of Taurus coming through as well. So there could be a strong earth sign or a strong Taurus coming into your life. And this is not a bad thing. I like what I see here. With a knight or a prince, they usually act by the best code of conduct possible. So what I see here is that your good work will get kind of like paid off in kind. So keep working hard, keep trusting that that work is going to be seen. And then also like pay it forward if you can. Good deeds get recognized is what I see with this. But I also see the potential to go higher. So we've gone from an ace to a knight, and that's a definite upgrade. So if you're trying to negotiate more money, or if you're trying to save money, I see that opportunity for you to walk away with more than you expected. So I like that quite a bit for you. Things are going to happen quickly when it comes to finance and work. Knights work with speed. The aardvark worked with speed. Lots of connections this month. Even in the cups and the sort of major arcana cards, we saw grounded energy, and now we see more earth and grounding energy as well. Okay, let's go ahead now and look at so far the only card that's a little bit tricky. When I look at hopes, fears, and opportunities, we have the Ten of Swords. The Ten of Swords, of course, is something that you can avoid because of its placement here. This can be an argument. This can be something going on with your health that you need to pay attention to. It can also just be burnout. So I want you to really listen to your inner voice and also what your body is telling you. So it's kind of interesting. We have a phrase that we use in communication, like, oh, that person's a pain in the neck, or other part of your body if you want to, but usually like pain in the neck. Or, it's just sort of like, oh, that gives me a headache. Or there's a lot of times that we compare something in our life to pain, a heartache, heartbreak, so for many of us, there's this an opportunity to kind of like release emotional energy so it doesn't actually get into that part of your body or your spirit. So when you start to feel it at the beginning, lean on others. Remember that bridge that we saw with the ants. There's a lot of support around you. There's a lot of opportunity for you to kind of like connect with others. So lean into that and don't feel like you have to shoulder the weight of that burden alone. The Ten of Swords can indicate, again, standard disclaimers apply with health. You should always talk to a doctor if you're feeling anything. But Ten of Swords can indicate that there could be some problems with your posture, with your spine, with your neck, with your back. It can also be a chronic illness, or it can just be chronic fatigue. Whatever's going on here, this is a sign that it's time to transition or try something else. I mentioned that when it comes to structures, you may be breaking them down or trying something different. When I look at your destiny card, we have Shiva the Destroyer. Shiva's coming through saying, we need to break this down. We need to break through that. So if there's something in your life that's creating that feeling for you, I jumped ahead a little bit to the destiny card, but Shiva's saying it's time to take that apart, try something different. Okay. I love how we're ending this sort of main Celtic Cross. We're going to look at the expanded here in a second, but we have the King of Swords, which is a really positive card here, especially when we look at these are the 2 future cards. So near future and the outcome. The outcome is the King of Swords, which is saying you found your voice, you found your purpose, you're able to stand up for yourself, you're able to take action. People are willing and ready to listen to and ostensibly act upon whatever it is that you say. So your power or your key to success this month is communicating. So some of you may have a different comfort level with communication. Much like I do here at the beginning, write it down. Write it on your phone. Our cell phones are like the new flashcards here that I have in front of me. So you can type it into your phone, and if you go into a big meeting, you can just kind of look at the bullets on the memo application on whatever device you're looking at and just say, hey, I have a couple things I want to talk about. First thing is this, second thing is this. They're not going to mind if you look at that. just keep your train of thought. Some of you may also be called to do something more with your public speaking or public writing. This could be deciding to, stand up in front of others and deliver a motivational speech, to write something down, like I said, whether it's a curriculum or possibly a story, and or some sort of a blog, and put that out there for a larger consideration. So I like what I'm seeing there. Okay. All right, let's go ahead now and expand the forecast. We're going to look at health, wealth, love, and destiny. We'll begin with your health card. I like what I see here. It's the inner voice, and it says, let me grab my glasses for this. It says, thank you, angels, for guiding me through my inner voice. And what I was talking about earlier when we were focusing more on the aardvark, it can't always trust what it's seeing. It has to go a little bit deeper. So a lot of you are going to have to do that as well. So for some of you, it may be clairaudient skills that are coming through, the ability to hear in spirit, but it can also be, we all have the voice. Well, I would assume people can think in words or they can think in auditory thoughts, but a lot of us hear ourselves talking in our heads. So if that's the way you think, listen to that. The sort of dialogue that you have in your brain is also intuitive energy. You don't always have to hear it like Joan of Arc, something coming through from the exterior. Spirit works in thoughts as well. So if you have a persistent thought that is with you, I need to do this, I should call this person, I need to ask for more money, I need to quit this job, whatever's coming through, it's a good thought, it's a power thought. So do something with it. It's all a choice of what you want to do. That's how intuition starts. As you start to open up your third eye and your other sort of chakras, then what happens is you'll pick up more, you'll get more senses. I haven't shared this story in a while, but once when I was at work, it was kind of disconcerting the way it happened, but I was introduced to someone, shook their hands, and then I heard a whisper in my head, in one of my ears, that said, "Careful there, careful with that person." And I probably looked distracted, and I kept talking to the person, and then lo and behold, a couple weeks later, they were wreaking havoc, saying some bad things about me and making my life difficult. And so Spirit warned me. I was aware and I wasn't surprised. And I thought, okay. But if I rewind, maybe 3 or 4 years before that in a different job, I remember sitting at the desk and something bad had happened. Someone had acted out of turn. And I sat down and I thought, who is it? And it came to me like that. And I went straight to the person and I said, I don't know how you're involved, but I'm going to find out. And their face went white because I was right. So you can actually have it in just, it, or you can hear it. And they were both intuition, because there was no reason. That person was shocked that I was able. They came over to me later and told me how they were involved. And they said, how did you know? I said, I just knew. So that was long before I kind of identified as an intuitive. I just was always intuitive. But so you can just know it, or sometimes you can hear it or see it or receive a vision. You don't always need the vision to be intuitive. So this is a way that I want to encourage all of you to kind of lean into your psychic skills. We all have it. And if we just trust it, it'll lead us in the right path. Okay. So listen to the inner voice. Why is it coming through in health, you may ask? Well, we got the 10 of Swords. So for many of you, there could be a little inkling of something that's wrong. A little, something in your throat, something in your back, something that's just off a little bit. That is the point where you go and ask for a test or some advice or talk to the doctor. And so when you feel it first, don't wait for it to manifest as an actual sort of illness. Say, something's off. I don't know what. This is what I'm feeling. This is what's changed. What can I do, doc? So talk to somebody that's experienced when you feel that. The other thing is it can just be a push to get out of a toxic environment. This can just be a place where people are negative and it kind of brings you down. So when you feel like I've had enough, listen to that epiphany and move forward. Okay, let's look at some additional cards here just in the Celtic Cross spread. See if there's any other messages around health and well-being. The main one here is with the Strength card. This can show fatigue when it's reversed. It can also be an indication to work on building up muscle strength. Again, standard disclaimers apply. You should always work with your doctor before you change your health regimen or anything like that. But this can be an encouragement to start to do things like maybe like Pilates, where you're not necessarily even needing to use external weights, or you're just trying to do some strength building. Okay, so we see that. There's also this opportunity to detox when it comes to overeating, over drinking, or any sort of substance that you might be leaning on, caffeine and nicotine included. So pull back a little bit with that. Of course, if there's anything going wrong with your back, take care of it. It could be as simple as a chiropractic adjustment or some acupuncture. Could be more. If it's more, get the help that you need. And those are the main messages there, okay? So one last thing for some of you, there was a close call that you've had in the past or someone in your family had. This could be the wake-up call that you needed to have that sort of energetic push to do the next big thing, okay? I like it. All right. By the way, since we're talking about inner voice and maybe even inner ear, if there's anything going wrong with your ears, go to an ENT, an ear, nose, and throat doctor. A lot of times they can help you diagnose something that's going on with balance, with hearing, or again, it can be sinuses, throat, and ear. All the stuff that's kind of in the middle here, they can help out. So an ENT, not everyone knows about it, ear, nose, throat, they're great doctors. So if you're having any problems, go to them, they can help out with that. Even with things like sleep apnea, right? If you're tired, if you've got a sore throat, if you're really stuffed up, go to one of those doctors and they can usually help you out. Okay, let's move on to wealth. We're looking at Venus here, which I talked about recently. She came through as a totem. And I gotta put my glasses on for this one as well. Downloads and understanding. It says, truth is being revealed. Deep insights are coming from heaven in the astral realm. So really pay attention to, like I do, to dreams, also to anything that you're just starting to really focus on and feel. Venus, of course, is about love and about really presenting yourself in a loving way. And also kind of, we got the Lovers card here. I feel like a lot of you may have a difficult time sort of like getting that space or that independence that you need because people are knocking on the door. They want to be with you. They want to be around you. These two cards are very social. So make sure that you're doing what you need to kind of like navigate those waters. Let's see how she could affect business. Well, first of all, if you're not networking, you should be. This can be literal networking, like going to a company event. In COVID, it could be virtual things. If you're meeting for, Zoom gatherings, that's also good. Even if it's social, you might be surprised what could come out of that, maybe a job opportunity, etc. And then, of course, making sure that your social media is where it needs to be. Nowadays, when you're applying for a job, background checks include looking at Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and just doing social media. So comb through your social media and make sure that it looks good for future employers. If you need to get some stuff taken down off the internet, get that stuff taken down and really kind of clean up your social footprint. Again, with all the barefooted stuff here, you're leaving a footprint as you're walking. So make sure that it's okay. For instance, if I were to apply for a job, there's no way that I couldn't talk about my intuitive work because it's everywhere. There's no way, like it's out there now and people know what I do. So make sure that you own your past and you're making sure that everything looks good. LinkedIn, digital portfolios and websites as well. This can indicate it's a proper time to kind of make sure that that's where it needs to be. If you're looking at training or education, this card is nodding at that and saying it's a good idea. Yes, go for it. If you are wondering, can I find something? Can I negotiate? These cards are also giving you a really nice nod in that direction. It's a good time to talk to your present employer about future opportunities. It's a great time to throw your hat in the ring for consideration if there's something like a transfer or an upgrade in status or something like that. It all looks pretty good. The only thing that you want to make sure that you avoid is arguing or saying something negative. It could come back and ricochet when it comes to office spaces and finances and just general things around wealth. But finally, I mean, you really have cards of power coming through. No less than 3 power cards because we have Strength, Emperor, and the King of Swords. Get it in writing is what the King of Swords is saying. So yeah, if all else fails, make sure that there's a contract or make sure that it's in writing. Don't trust it until it's in writing. Let's move on to your relationships. I'm sorry, yes, love. To me, it's not just about like romantic relationships. It's also about business and familial. So we have a divine matrix card, beautiful illustration that came through. So interconnectedness, synchronicity, and God coincidences. So I like that. For many of you, this is basically a synchronicity. Yeah. So what does that mean? It means that you're at the right time at the right place to meet the right person. So if you've been working really hard to open up something in your life, This relationship could be a really key business relationship. Let's say you've been looking for representation, like an agent or a manager. Let's say that you've been looking for a person that can get you FaceTime with somebody, an interview with somebody, because perhaps you're just randomly at a friend's place or at one of these parties or gatherings. You bump into them and somebody knows that person. That's the idea. That's basically a synchronicity. You've done the work. You've even intuited. This has happened to me a couple times where I think I may see someone on TV or I may see someone in the world, and I'm like, one of these days I'll have a chance to kind of like run across their paths, and I do. It happens. So you can kind of put it out there. I want to meet this person, and then do the work to kind of set yourself up so that you're ready for that meeting. And then lo and behold, it will happen. And figure out what you're going to do with that meeting as well. This is specifically, I would say, for many of you that are looking at a career opportunity. Now, for the rest of you, this could be a divine sort of nod that a partnership is coming through. This reminds me a lot of the ace card that we see here. So you may have thought to yourself, this is the kind of person I'm looking for, but I'm not going to be focusing on this so much. I'm working on this, this, and this. All of a sudden, the universe kind of presents an opportunity, and the person shows up because you've kind of let it go a little bit, and now you've manifested it. So we see something big manifesting in relationships. Let's dig deeper now. I'm going to look at those of you in relationships, those of you looking for relationships, those of you that are single, happy, and just curious what kind of relationship energy is available for you. All right, so as we take a look at the cards here, specifically through the lens of relationships, let's see what's coming through. Okay. So for those of you in a relationship, there's a lot of power energy here with the Strength card and the Emperor card. I see evenly matched energy. So the Strength card is just as strong, if not stronger, than the Emperor. What's going on here is a little bit of a tug of war. So not everyone can be right. Not everyone can sort of be center stage all of the time. But I do like to remind folks that there's always room for two stars in the sky. We don't have to have one person outshine the other. So I think one of the key things in relationships is understanding that strength is a good thing, and taking turns kind of like leading the charge is fine, but sometimes you'll both be leading. So you'll have to figure out how to navigate that. Social interactions are going to be a little tricky. So I do think for many of you, this is like a mother, father-in-law, sister-in-law, the sort of marital kind of energy that could be coming through and complicating things, or friends. And it's sort of like a click. How do I fit into that? Do I fit into that group? Do I feel like an outsider? Also, for some of you, there could be a bigger question coming through, which is this the relationship that I thought it was? Because the Three of Cups is not always cheating. It's not always a third party. It can just be a question. Do I see myself with this person, or do I want something else? On the bright side, we have the Lovers, the Emperor, and the King of Swords. So if you can get past any disagreements that you might have, I actually see you guys being able to work it out. This is literally working on it. This is progress. This is even more progress. And this is communication being reestablished. So unless communication breaks down, which it could, you probably are going to be okay. If communication breaks down, you should really try to get back to that person and solve it. Otherwise, going to a friend could complicate things. And that's basically what I'm seeing here. The good news is I'm not seeing like a divorce or a separation card. All I see here is a potential argument. I also see a potential third party that could get in the way. Outside of all of this, a lot of development with work, with money, with school, with career. So you're going to have to navigate maybe one partner wanting to go back to school, one partner wanting to maybe like take a raise or a lead where it's going to take time away from the relationship. So it's just time and energy balance is really that's coming in here the most. Okay. For those of you that are single and looking for love, well, definitely this is a good month for you. We have the Three of Cups here and the Lovers card showing the ability to stumble upon somebody, right? And by the way, just this card for others could be that big job opportunity that you're looking for, and that could get in the way of the relationship. But for those of you that are single and we're looking at this as, wow, this is what I've been waiting for. But ironically, you might also be having another part of your life picking up. So I see like work and personal life in high gear for all people this month. And you're going to have to kind of figure out, how do I deal with this extra social energy? So you just may not have the time. You're a little fatigued. You may put your foot in your mouth. That's the Ten of Swords as well, but you can recover from that. Okay. If you are single and happy, maybe you're divorced, maybe you're widowed, maybe you're just not interested in love at this time, I actually think that that's fortuitous, because I see a lot of work getting done. I see potentially someone wanting to buy or offer you money for some of that, or you just want to go even deeper into that energetic experience, and that's great. One thing that you want to avoid is burnout. It would be nice to occasionally say yes to some of these invitations. And you may not be looking for a friend or for love, but it's there. It's around you if you're open to it. Some of you are afraid of rejection or afraid of the pain that was associated with that, and that's your choice. But I am telling you, it's around you. It's in the periphery. It's there for everybody. And the question is, am I looking or am I not looking? So the good news this month is, if you're looking, it's there. And if you're not looking, you can still use this energy to help with business and other things. But there is still that opportunity for a new friend or a new love interest. So I say what I see. All right, let's go ahead now and look at your destiny card. Destiny, the way that I read it, is something that you are creating, that you are manifesting, and you're manifesting change, in short here. We have Shiva the Destroyer. Shiva's great because it's kind of a culmination of 2 or 3 cards. It's like death, judgment, the tower, and the world all smashed together, right? So there's a lot of power, and the question is, do I want to stay or do I want to go? And why am I not changing some things up? So Shiva's here to help you make the changes if you're willing and ready to make those changes, okay? It's a great card. So it's encouraging you that whatever this moment is, the 6 of Swords, you can absolutely not only do it, but like with flying colors, okay? Let's pull one card for the big idea, and then let's dig into blessings and blocks before we peek into 2022. All right, so the big idea for the next 6 to 8 weeks, whenever you happen to be watching this, is, it's a release from any sort of shackles from the past. So we have the Devil card here. The Devil card is actually pretty positive when it's reversed, because it says, I see what's been holding me back. Maybe I was what was holding, I'm part of the problem. Maybe there's someone in my life, I want something from them, but they can't give it to me. Maybe I can't give something to someone else, but now I know it. I see through it, like the block that the high priestess in spirit was showing me. Honor it when someone says, I can't do it, I don't want to do it. Honor the no. Also honor it when you feel like it's not right, because you know exactly what you should and shouldn't do, okay? When it comes to relationships, if there's someone that you like, but they're not available, give them time and give yourself time. So this could be someone that's getting out of a divorce. You could also meet someone at an inconvenient time when you're both in a relationship. You've got to sort out what you want. Don't get messy with this. This card is all about kind of making sure that you're both in a nice, clean, and clear path. With work energy, the Devil reversed is about promises that haven't been kept. So let's say your employer has said consistently, yeah, you're the next one in line for this promotion, or yes, you can do this project, or yes, whatever it is, but it never happens. You see through the facade, you understand what's going on. So you're no longer going to be the puppet. You're going to be the puppet master. You're going to change things. You're going to take control, like Shiva was showing you, and try something different. Okay. Cool. That was a deep card to come through for the big idea, but it was a hidden card. So it's basically saying we're releasing the ties that bind us to things that we don't want. So it's very much a blessing, actually, but in disguise. And that's a nice segue to look at the blessings and blocks. All right, so let's take a look now at the blessing card. There's my little aardvark behind me, digging his own little hole. I love terrier breeds because they just kind of, they're always moving about and doing their own thing. All right, so let's take a look now at blessing for the month ahead. Blessing, like it sounds, is something that you can look forward to, something that you can embrace, capitalize on. So be patient, because something really cool is around the corner here. So the Hanged Man, just the history of this, I always like to kind of remind people what it means. The Hanged Man is showing us that through a necessary pause, annoying as it may be, we are actually achieving or receiving inspiration, insight, or guidance. Don't rush. The delay is the blessing. Spirit has a sense of humor today as we're looking at some of this stuff. So the reverse of this is saying be patient, change and opportunity is closer than you imagine. However, there's a little bit of a break, there's a little bit of a plateau that's necessary for you to either identify, realize, or to somehow create or build this new opportunity. Okay? So your blessing is time and patience, but you have to kind of embrace the two. It's not going to happen as quickly as you want, but when it does happen, then I think you're going to make up for lost time. All right, let's look at potential blocks in your life. Things that you could avoid, things that you can transmute, destroy, rebuild, because Shiva's there. Nothing can stop you with Shiva in your sort of like cards today. Shiva's a pretty good ally. Okay, so the only block here for you is maybe something that you say or think, because the Ace of Swords is such a powerful card. So sometimes we will speak or think something into existence. I can't do this. I don't have good luck with X, Y, or Z. People never see me as this. You just spoke it, you just owned it, you just created it. So I want you to flip the script a little bit and say instead something affirmational. I made up a word, affirmative, yes. So you want to say instead, I can do this, I will do this, I am creating this, I will figure this out. Will do, etc. Use either an active verb or an infinitive and find a way to figure your way toward that, okay? So no more can't, won't, shouldn't, never. Let's erase those. Let's find instead ways to do it. So the block is to get around the block. It's basically not to say something that you don't want to do. Also, for those of you looking for work, as you write your CV or resume, or if you are an artist and you have a portfolio, don't put an excess of experience or samples of your work in there that show things that you don't want to do anymore, because people will hire you based on experience. So you want to make sure that you're putting some new stuff that shows where you want to be. And that if there is any, the way that these are, most people find you through LinkedIn now anyways, but make sure like in LinkedIn, if you have statements or whatever you're highlighting, if there's a portfolio section, which I know there is, that you're putting like good stuff and a little bit of like your passion projects in there as well. So people can see like what your point of view is, what your strength is, okay? Never put stuff that you don't want. Never say things about yourself that are limiting you. And that's really what's coming through for the block. All right, let's get interactive. It's a quiet room today. So what we're going to do right now is throw out a poll for everybody to talk about here. I'm going to look at some of the things that we can possibly benefit from. And then I will also do a reader's choice while you're voting on that. So let me open this up. We're going to create a poll right now. So viewers, choice, and a few things that we want to look at. So because we got that the devil card, I want to look at breaking down limitations, or looking at limitations. Yeah, we'll just say looking at limitations. The other thing that I want to look at is, let's see, with Shiva the Destroyer, why don't we look at opportunities to build or create? And the last one that I want to look at is, I'm actually going to do something for the readers. One is going to be listening to your intuition. Moving on, because we have the Six of Swords here. So moving on, I'll say moving up, moving on. So there you go. If you're watching live, wake up. And you have a chance now to vote. You can vote if you're on the computer, like a desktop device, or mobile. While you're doing that, I want to look at what we were seeing here with the inner voice. What's the message is my reader's choice version. So I want to see what's the message that's coming through for you. What's Spirit trying to whisper to you? Okay, so for many of you, this is kind of like a middle management card, but it is about taking the wheel. And there could be some people around you that are lacking motivation. I'm looking at the two sphinxes in front of here. They're not doing anything. He's also not moving anywhere. I love the card, but I would say, when are you going to take the wheel? When are you going to start the action or the motion? So the universe is kind of waiting on your cue. So when you say, I am ready, let's do this now, all of a sudden things start to open up for you. To make something happen, more likely than not, you're going to have to be the voice of reason. You're going to have to be the navigator. You're going to have to be the leader. Okay. Let's see which one is winning here. It looks like opportunities to build or create, working off the energy of Shiva. So that was a great choice, everyone. So we saw destroy here, but I like to turn cards around and look at building because Shiva can do both. So with this, we're going to see what are the opportunities to build or create something new. 45% of the vote opted for that, so thank you. Okay, this is perfectly aligned to it. So let me pull the card close to you since it sometimes gets drowned out by the light here. So we have the Seven of Cups. The Seven of Cups was in reverse. A couple things that I like about this one. It's almost like the sea is parting for this person. Like they're walking across the sea and it's parting because you can see the waves around them and you see the little starfish here. I've always wondered oftentimes why cups wasn't in the water. It's in the air. It doesn't make a lot of sense. So the Seven of Cups, this is a great time to think about new things, but we can sometimes overanalyze and get lost in our thoughts. So this is discernment and decision making here. So I think you already have a couple of really great things that you can kind of explore, express, and try out. Pick one of them as what this card is saying and move forward with it. We can oftentimes wonder, to our own sort of defeat sometimes, well, what if this happens? Or what if I do it this way? Or what are they going to say? So with this one, it's kind of taking a little bit of leap of faith, not necessarily blind faith, but knowing that I have the wherewithal to figure this out. So explore a little bit, brainstorm a little bit, and then start to create something sooner than not. This is the private time that you need to kind of think it through. Because sometimes if we're asked to defend something, to articulate something, and we haven't yet kind of figured out what we want yet, then it's going to be difficult. So again, for creating a new opportunity, just go with the one that feels the best to you. That little starfish at the bottom there is reminding you that you can always come back, bounce back from something. They're regenerative. Not all of them, but most of them can regenerate. So if there is something that you lost, or if you have to cut something out, or if something crashed and you lost part of your idea or whatever, this is showing me that you can trace your tracks. And sometimes it's even better and stronger the second time around. So don't try to do everything. Limit the scope. If I can help you the most on this one, I would say limit the scope. So in business, you are constrained by three major things: scope, budget, money, and time. So in this particular one, the universe is saying, limit your scope and do something, like do a little bit less, but do it better. So if you think of a restaurant, have you ever been to a restaurant that has like a 50-page menu? It's sort of like, what's your point of view? Am I eating, is this like Italian? Is it Eastern cuisine? Is it French? What's the cuisine? What am I getting here? Why is everything? It's the kitchen sink. So let's not do the kitchen sink. Let's pick one thing and really, really do it well. It's always nicer when maybe there's only like 6 to 8 entrees, a couple of desserts, a couple of drinks, like less, but all the items are good, than to have 50 pages of nothing. So that's what this is saying. Really kind of like home in on what you're trying to do and narrow it. And I think you're going to be stronger for that. Okay. Great choice. Great message. I think that's something all of us can relate to when we're looking at a new opportunity. Okay. Let's look at the next piece here. So I feel like we've done everything here. We're going to move on to the meditation now next, but we've done blessings and blocks. We did the reader's choice and the viewer's choice. So yes, we're going to move along to the meditation and the final card. So for the meditation today, as I'm looking at all of this, I kind of want to do something with the Six of Swords and movement. I like this idea of being able to fly above something. So we're going to work with that. Before I meditate, please take a moment to write down the question for the very final read that you might have for me. So I do my best to cover everything, but there may be something that I wasn't able to help you with. So whatever that question is, scribble it down. While you're doing that, a reminder to anyone that joined late that you can always get a recap on social media. I'm Nicholas Ashbaugh everywhere, but Twitter, where I'm an Ashbaugh. And if you'd like to show some support right now, you can do that before we meditate. You can do that by clicking here. You can become a channel member, give back super chat, super sticker, or it's optional if you like to. On replay, you can also do the thanks button here right by share. Okay. Finally, the free way to show support, and then we'll meditate, is just to hit like, subscribe, and opt into notifications. A reminder that you can only like once per video. You can only subscribe once in your lifetime, and hopefully that helps you out. Okay. The subscribe is a key and important piece, though, because 70% of the people that watch don't subscribe, and I'd like to see that number flip because there's a lot of you that are watching but not subscribing. It helps me, and it doesn't cost anything, so thank you. All right, let's get into the meditation. I'm going to let you vote on which instrument I use while I set everything up. So which instrument? I have both a singing bowl and a crystal pyramid. You can vote on whichever one you would like to hear. For those of you that have come here a few times, you know what each sounds like. If you're just curious about one of them, go ahead and vote for the one that you like the most. Okay, so while you're doing that, let's imagine that we're going to combine a couple of cards in tarot. Imagine that you are working with like the Three of Wands, where you're looking at the ships coming to the pier. And as you're looking out at this beautiful sort of, let's imagine that you're in a kind of like San Francisco Bay, where there's some sort of a bay where you can see land on all sides, but there are ships coming into a port. I want you to imagine that you're walking down and you're meeting that ship. And in that ship is some sort of an opportunity, some sort of an invitation. And you're going to take that invitation, whether it's for love, for work, for some new life experience, for travel. There's something inviting. And even if you've had a fear of kind of like getting in the water or something like that, don't worry, this is more figurative. You're just going to feel this sense that the ship is going to take you to a better horizon. And as you step onto the ship, you realize that it's almost like you're stepping onto a new world. There's beautiful green flowers around you. There's all these birds, and the birds are actually there to help you. And if you'd like to, you can actually even skip the ship and fly with the birds. The birds are actually what's pulling or putting wind in the sails here. And so just imagine that the birds are lifting you up if you'd like to, like we saw in this particular illustration, and allowing you to get a bird's eye view of what's available to you. You're moving forward. The ship is taking you there. The birds are taking you there. Listen to the messages that they're telling you. Listen to your heart and into your mind so that you can just basically enjoy. In order to facilitate this, I just want you to close your eyes. Take a nice deep breath. Exhale. Let go. Imagine that your breath is also kind of bringing you forward, either the wind in your sails or it's kind of allowing you to kind of move with the birds as well. With each breath that you take, you feel lighter, you feel brighter, you see things from a higher perspective. Allow yourself to just move and to see any sort of blocks in your way disappear, just as the high priestess showed us earlier. Imagine if you see something that's in the way of the ship, you could just reach out and it disintegrates or disappears. So you have this power of movement, of transmutation, and all you need to do now is to relax and let it go. All right, I'm going to play the singing bowl while you relax here. Feel that you are moving faster, moving farther, and accomplishing more than you thought was possible. Just like the ant, you have hidden capacity, hidden skills, and now is the time to learn what those are. And yes, I will do the 2020 for those of you that asked. Thanks for the reminder. You'll have to wait until after the meditation. Thank you so much. Take a nice deep breath. Exhale, letting go, allowing yourself to feel light as a feather. Also allowing yourself to come back down to earth, back to your body. So we're going to do something different today. I'm going to answer your final card, and then I'm going to look at the year ahead. Thank you to those that reminded me about that. I want you to focus first on your final card and think about whatever that final question was. And to those that ask about the slow mode, it's so that my moderator can moderate, and it's so that people don't spam. It's actually a feature for protection. All right, so think about your final question, whatever it is, and let's go ahead now and read that final question. So this can be yes, no, this can be a little bit deeper. After this, we'll do the 2022 past, present, and future. Okay, final question. If it's a yes, no, this would be a not yet. But there is some sort of like nuances to this. We have the Five of Swords here. The Five of Swords is often sometimes, it can be when you are faced with a situation where you know it may not be worth the energy of interacting or going forth on this. So we have, you can kind of see in this person's eye, all of the things that are going on around them, and they're wondering, can I do this? Should I do this? Why isn't this person tuning into me, right? So I would say for many of you, pick and choose your battles wisely, and also understand that if someone isn't willing to listen, then this isn't the time or the place to sort of like share that message or that thought. You can cut losses with the Five of Swords too, and kind of walk away from something if you need to. If you are looking at a yes and a no, this is kind of a complicated thing, because I think that one of the things that you want to be looking at is, do you really want to kind of interact or kind of work with that particular energy? So if it's a yes, no, and you're wondering like, why am I not getting hired? Or should I do this? Should I kind of like move to this place? Is there something about it that's giving you doubt? There needs to be a little less doubt and a little less maybe pushback from whatever it is that you're working with. So I'd say it veers on the side of no, and there's usually kind of like erring on the side of caution is really important, and making sure that it's a battle worth fighting. I'll get let's clarify it with one card, just because it's a little bit nuanced. So let me just see if there's anything else for the Five of Swords. Yeah, it's saying your initial decision is what matters most. Judgment card usually showing that you know what to do, and when we sort of second guess that judgment, that's when we get into trouble. And if somebody isn't going to agree with us, they can also be judgmental. It's not worth it either. Okay, you don't need other people's permission to do something, and it's going to be okay. All right, just go down the path that you need to. This is also a card of being able to rise up from the ashes. So if you do need to do that, that's perfectly okay. You're going to be fine, basically. If you need, what I mean by that is like, if you need to sort of let something go, you'll be able to bounce back with the Judgment card. Or if something didn't work out the way you wanted to, it'll be okay. All right, let's go ahead now and do the 2022 past, present, and future influences. And thank you so much. This is something new, so sometimes I forget, and I appreciate what people said in chat just to remind me. So thank you for doing that. All right, we're going to do past, present, and future. Again, when it comes to voting, don't worry. There's a lot of chances to vote, especially in the weekend stuff. So sometimes it doesn't work. And sorry if the timer kind of timed you out, but it should have been okay though, because I was talking for about a minute or so and reading for a couple of minutes. So next time that it happens, just kind of pause if you're talking, and then you should be able to vote. So thank you for alerting me to that. All right, past, present, future for 2022. Let's see. So far, so good. All right, let me pull these cards up and we'll talk about them. So we have past opportunities here, or past energies, the Ace of Wands. A lot of this is actually coming through in the new year, and also talking about that Phoenix, it's coming through. So if there's something that you were trying to do and failed at or didn't succeed at, then you have a second chance coming through in the new year. This is your chance to rise up. This is your chance to expand a little bit, to try something new, and give yourself that opportunity. Also, put some energy and some fire into whatever it is that you've been thinking about, because this is very much you sort of kindling your own flame and saying, yeah, I'm ready for this. Yes, I'm willing to put all of the energy that I need to into this. We see the overarching energy for the next year being that of change and financial improvement. Here we have the Wheel of Fortune. The Wheel of Fortune is reversed, so this can be a change of fortune, change of direction, change of luck rather, but ultimately it's change and moving with the change. The reversal of this is saying that for some of you, you are resistant to the necessary changes that are happening. And so you just want to kind of like embrace those changes, okay? This could mean a new job, a new move, a new career, a new love. It's just as powerful as the Tower, but it's almost always positive because it's the Wheel of Fortune. The only thing that you want to be aware of next year is that there's a lot of ups and downs here. We've got the Nine of Cups. So what this can mean is that sometimes we can put too much energy into, oh my God, everything's great, going on top of the world, or someone says something negative and it completely deflates everything. Understand that they're all just points on a larger sort of like graph. And if any of you look at, statistics or analytics, you're not so focused about the super high and the super low. It's more sort of like, where's the median? You're always going to have concentrated sort of points like that. So if you can kind of look at the sunny side, focus on the positive, and really kind of bring your A game as much as possible, you're going to be okay. This is ultimately a card of celebration and happiness. The reversal is saying just don't let one thing get in the way of that. If we combine this one last time, make sure that you are fanning the fire and feeding the sort of spark of your own ideas. You have a second chance to ignite something. It could involve a complete shift, pivot, or change, something that I've been consistently talking about across all signs. So be willing and ready to embrace that change as it comes across. And finally, stay positive. Don't let one thing take you off of your sort of like, your inspiration. And try to find some things to bring you back down to earth a little bit. I like that we went into outer space with the Six of Swords, but this card can sometimes be letting your emotions get kind of carried away. So we want to channel the passion into something tangible, and it should be a good year. You have great cards. There's nothing here really showing anything that I'm overly concerned about, except that there's something that needs to shift with career or general life focus. And for some of you, just your general sort of ability to navigate change or emotions is something that you want to kind of try to work on a bit. Okay, great energy. Nice way to end this reading, by the way. Thank you all for participating, for reminding me of that. Again, I appreciate the participation in polls. They're not always perfect, so don't worry if you couldn't participate this time. I give you lots of chances. In fact, join me on the weekend. Let me put a link to the upcoming schedule, and you'll have another chance to do that. I do a lot of polls on the weekends, okay? The deck Maria said earlier already was the True Heart Intuitive deck. They're on my website. She can put a link to my website as well. You can just click there and you can find out more about that. All right, I'd like to take a moment now to say thanks to everybody that gave back. Before I do that, one last time, we're pretty much at the halfway point of likes here, but if everyone could hit thumbs up just once, if you hit it twice, you unlike it. This will help with people discovering it, and maybe on replay, put a comment and say what you liked. All right, so let me go ahead now and quickly say thank you to those that joined or rejoined as members, and anybody that was kind enough to give back today, because you helped me do what I'm doing here. I couldn't do it without you. All right, so first let's start with memberships and see who was new. Looks like we have a few new people here. So today I see 4 new people. Or some folks that rejoined. So Margaret Wilkins looks like brand new. Welcome back, or welcome, I should say. Carol Hell is someone that rejoined after 3 months. CHK, you're pretty new here too as well. You just joined. And Tasha Hamilton, it looks like you rejoined here as well. So thank you so much to everybody that is either new or rejoined. Good to have you here. Thank you so much. All right, let me go ahead now and say thank you to anybody that gave a super sticker or super chat. Looks like we only have a few today, so it should go pretty quickly here. Touche, thank you so much. It looks like you renamed your channel a little bit. So Touche Jermaine 336 Tarot, good to have you here. Susie or Susie's, thank you. Dilasha Jane, welcome. Thank you. Angela Kirk, Jeannie Hart, Erin Maneker, Michelle Baxter, thank you very much for that $20. I appreciate it. And LCB, thank you everybody for showing up. Thank you everybody for participating. Monica, I saw you here at the end. I appreciate your final contribution as well. Hope to see you all on Sunday. And just a reminder of the upcoming readings for next week. I'll be doing, let's see, for Monday, Thursday, and Friday of next week, I'll be doing Virgo, Libra, and Scorpio. I hope you can make it. I appreciate all of you that showed up today and all of you that participated. You made everything worthwhile. So Lots of love and light to you. Thank you, Maria Margarita, for your help with giving back today in moderation. Rishma, thank you. Before I end up signing off here, thank you for that late contribution as well. All right, everyone, have a great day. I hope that your week and weekend has been, weekend is great. Your weekend is going to be great. And I'll see you soon. And have a happy new year, too, if you're watching this in January. All right, bye-bye.